Now let's welcome in our next guest. He can be seen on fantasysportsnetwork.com at 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock weekdays. Also, make sure to follow Sports Rage on Twitter and sportsragetv.com and MMA Meltdown on the Fight Network and Sirius XM. It is Gabriel Morency. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Matt? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. We're having a lot of fun with the crazies out there who want Michel Therrien fired after an 8-4-1 start.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit early to be wanting to fire the coach, but there's a lot of crazies when it comes to the Montreal Canadiens. I believe I gave you the Chicago Blackhawks on Sirius XM though yesterday. So no, I'm not. It is what it is, right? I mean, people in Montreal are supposed to be smart, knowledgeable hockey fans, and not jumping off and on and off bandwagons with every win and loss. But I guess that's what it's come to.
Well, it's going to get ugly if they lose to Buffalo tomorrow. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't miss that. That's the one thing. That's the one thing that I don't miss about Montreal is taking calls from people that think the Canadians are going to win the Stanley Cup every night. And we see this every freaking year. Every year with the Canadians. They come out like a bat out of hell. They win a bunch of games. People think they're the greatest team in the world. They lose a couple of games, and they want to trade the goalie, and they want to fire the coach.
Yeah, it's Mo's laughing because he knows. Mo's laughing here in the studio. It is.
I remember when I was there. I remember being in a press box once, and Mike Commissaric got booed because he coughed up the puck, viciously, though, over the top. Oh, he sucks, Commissaric. Then he drilled somebody. The crowd went crazy. He turned the puck over again. Then he scored. He got booed and cheered 4 times in one shift. You know what I mean?
Well, you're in Hogtown, right? And the Leafs lose tonight. So what's the fallout going to be like tomorrow, you think?
No, the public perception of Leaf fans is completely different from reality. Leaf fans think they suck and they're going to lose every night. So they're sort of just, they're not surprised when the Leafs lose. They're really not. It's like people live in the past too much. And, growing up, I think, especially in Montreal, and I'm not a Toronto fan. I live in Toronto now, but I'm not even on any Toronto local radio stations or anything like that. I broadcast nationally, out of Toronto per se. So I'm not a Toronto media guy. I don't cover the Leafs every day or anything like that. But I will defend it. I know people in Montreal right now are probably rolling over. But Leaf fans, they're not this obnoxious, oh, we're the best, we're going to win. They know they suck. They know they suck. And it's more the media that are a bunch of jerks that make people hate Toronto than the actual fans.
Gabriel Morency joining us here on Game Points. Big news, obviously, in Montreal today. The press conference down at the Bell Center for the preseason games being officially announced. Toronto versus the Reds, April 3rd and 4th, Friday and a Saturday at the Olympic Stadium. Mayor Denny Cordero was in attendance and spoke as well. Lending his support. Roberto Alomar in town as well. The Paul Beeston saying last year the attendance well exceeded expectations, that he hopes the team comes back to Montreal. It's just good for baseball in Canada, and he'd love to see 18 games against a Montreal team at some point. Your thoughts on the games coming back again?
Well, it's great news, and I was unfortunate to make it. Unfortunately, I was unable to make it last year, but I promise I will be here this year. We'll go down memory lane. I'm just sort of deciding where I'm going to do the show. I'm almost thinking, the old Brasserie, what is it, the Brasserie 99 near the stadium there? Old school where Bill Lee went in uniform and had a drink. I'm just, it's great news. Coming back again. Last year was a smash success. I'm glad it's the Cincinnati Reds as well. It's a fun team. They've got some talent there. And of course, last week with the story from the the New York Daily News. It was, I believe, that broke it. That that the ownership of the ownership group of the Tampa Bay Rays met with some Wall Street brokers to discuss, moving the team to Montreal. And this wasn't a rumor out of Montreal. It wasn't a rumor. It was fact. These guys, and the fact is, bankers run the world, man. Forget about politicians, forget about general managers, etc. Sports doesn't exist without the banks and Wall Street pulling the strings behind the deal. And, so you would probably know more than I would about this, Matt, doing all the work that you've done. The problem is they have a lease in place, and this lease goes, I guess, until 2028. But, this is Montreal all over again. The owner, they're not building a stadium in Tampa Bay for baseball. It's like I tweeted, unless the Tampa Bay Rays start playing football, they're not getting a new stadium. So let's call, they just built them a stadium. How about they move the Rays to Miami and they could have two teams there to play in front of nobody? They don't care. They don't care in Florida, man. They don't care about freaking basketball. They couldn't sell out when LeBron James was there in the finals. You could buy single game tickets. You think they give a crap about baseball? They don't care, man. And so there's not going to be much resistance among a fan base. I'm sure there's some kid out there that loves the Rays like we love the Expos. So I'm not making light of it, but there's not a huge resistance, similar like there really wasn't in Montreal. So they're easy to take. The owner doesn't want to be there, and the city is fed up. I looked into this actually after when I heard this. I started digging deeper, and basically the mayor and the city council basically told the owner of the Rays, you know what? We're done with you. We don't care. Like, bye. And I guess they told him, here's an offer. Leave. They said, here, pay us and go. You have a lease. Pay us the buyout for the lease, and you can go. And I guess Bud Selig, in typical Bud Selig fashion, has advised the Tampa Bay Rays not to pay a dime. And I guess Bud Selig reportedly told them, just move. Just do it. Basically, like don't respect the lease and just rip them off and just, move to Montreal. I don't know how much it really bothers Bud Selig. I mean, he's on his way out now anyways, right? So I guess Manfred's taken over. So I don't know how much it bothered him that the Expos left on his watch, but I'm sure he wouldn't mind actually somehow, reversing this, because Bud's all about screwing people over. So, now he wants to screw over the people of St. Petersburg. They don't have the money. They're not building a stadium. But without being stated, you've done a hell of a lot of work, and you should be commended for it. But without being stated, it's time for some people in Montreal with some money to get off their asses and stop, having drinks about it at the Queen Elizabeth Hotel and do something about it. The money's there, Brofman. The money's there, Labatt, Molson. We go down the list. The money's there. Stop talking about it and doing it. The rest of the world can do it. You can do it in Montreal.
Gabriel Morency joining us here on the program. All right, before we let you go, let's squeeze in some NFL here. So, what matchup?
My first NFL thought is somebody get Tom Coughlin a freaking jacket or some pants with a pocket, so he doesn't have to put the flag in his sock like a drug smuggler hiding drugs at the airport in his sock. That's ridiculous. The guy can't get the flag out in time because it's buried in his sock. Get this man a freaking pocket.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Mo?
Dallas Cowboys. You look at Jerry Jones and Tony Romo and this team right now. Are they about to explode given the fact that Romo can't play football right now?
Yeah, no, they're about to explode right now not because of Tony Romo, because of everything that I gave him credit for a couple of weeks ago, they're not doing, Mo. They're not doing. The reason why they're successful, it's not rocket science. You got DeMarco Murray did something that Jim freaking Brown didn't do. They did. Walter Payton didn't do it. Marcus Allen didn't do it. Earl Campbell didn't do it. Nobody did it. Nobody rushed for 100 yards in 7 consecutive games. You got a monster at the running back position. You got the best offensive line when it comes to run blocking, pass protection. They obviously have issues as we see right now when they can't handle the blitz at all. But and what do? The last 2 games, the Cowboys lose because they've gotten away from handing off the football to DeMarco Murray. It's not rocket science. It's idiotic. It's just beyond. If I was a Cowboy fan, I'd just be so enraged watching this. It's time and time again. Against the Redskins in overtime, the DeMarco Murray pops one off to the 4-yard line. He doesn't get the ball again. Whedon throws the ball. In overtime against the Redskins, first down, all he needs is a field goal. DeMarco Murray could have personally ran them to field goal range with 3 runs. First carry, from scrimmage in overtime, he gets 8 yards. Second down, third down, fourth down, they throw the football incomplete 3 consecutive times. That's a fireable offense to me. Last week against Arizona, you got Brandon Whedon starting. And, say what you will about Whedon, but whatever. He's not as bad as people make him out to be. But so you got Whedon starting, and he throws the football 33 times. And I'm not even in front of a computer right now. I'm standing in a condo gym right now. And I just know this. So he throws the ball 33 times. DeMarco Murray touched the ball 19 times. So, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So then you could say, yeah, well, what was the score? They were winning 10-0. How the hell are you winning 10-0 in a football game and you screw it up by not giving the ball to DeMarco Murray? You can't say, oh, well, the run game wasn't there because we were losing. You were winning 10-0. And I had a huge play on Arizona. It was like the play of the year for me. And I'm like, God, these idiots will screw it up. And they're throwing the football. And I don't know, man. Everything that they did properly. Tony Romo had attempted less passing attempts through 7 games than he had in his entire career through 7 games, all right? And they were winning football games. It's not, do the math, figure it out. The more you guys throw, the less you win. The more you run, the more you win. But I guess they're adverse to winning, and I'm going to go on a limb right now and tell you that I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win this game outright. This is going to be like their Super Bowl for them. Their owner owns Fulham. Their offense is starting to click a bit right now. Their defense isn't great, but this is a game where if the Cowboys think that they're going to show up and win, they're going to be mistaken because the Jags are going to bring it this weekend.
He is Gabriel Morency, SportsRageTV.com, Sports Rage on Twitter, and, of course, check out FantasySportsNetwork.com at 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock weekdays. Thank you, as always.
Hey, always a pleasure, and check out Off the Record tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I'll be on a panel with the new CFL president, I believe, Michael Copeland, and Gino Reda of TSN. 5 o'clock tomorrow.
Awesome. Thanks. All right, there you go. That's Gabriel Morency. We're coming up in our final segment here on Game Points for a late Tuesday, early Wednesday NFL picks. That is coming up next.